Nerdiest Prime.
Hi, and welcome to Nerdiest Prime, and we are reviewing every episode of Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4, and we're starting with the Season 4 premiere. 2 episodes, Tuvix, but not to be confused with Tuvix, and I have no bones, but yet I must flee.
They're sending the Cerritos? I guess we're finally getting some respect.
Man, I have to start with holodeck waste removal. Ugh.
Your odor will be repulsive.
Let's talk about our first impressions. Let's start with Alan.
The premiere with Voyager was fantastic. I love that episode so much. I mean, being a big Voyager fan, I loved all the little references. It was very funny, very clever, and it still had a good story for our Lower Decks team. The second one was also pretty good. I didn't like the second one as much as I enjoyed the first one, but yeah, it was that was a perfectly had some laughs and some fun in that one too. I knew that little poopsie creature was going to end up being trouble, or whatever it was called, and so it was yeah, the little Pokemon. So that one was, I thought, even a little bit predictable, but yeah, I just am on such a high with the Voyager one, so that was definitely my favorite of the two.
Yeah, that was a great start to the season. It was like there's so much in that first episode. It's just like reference, like just and good ones, you know, like the salamander babies. Oh my God, the Borg salamander baby. Like, oh, I died. Oh my God, just like it was so rapid fire and just so like. Oh, they just covered everything. It was so great, and so fun, and yeah, and I really enjoyed the second one. I thought the second one was great. It was more like Lower Decks focused, but I don't know. I feel like the second one had a little more like the Lower Decks like heart. I think personally, but yeah. Very, very much enjoyed both of them. Excited to talk about them.
I love Lower Decks. I've always loved it. So it's consistently just really good. And so I enjoyed the first episode. I enjoyed the second episode. Voyager for me is not something that I ever got into. So I didn't really get a lot of the references in the episode. I knew they were there. So it kind of went over my head, a lot of it, but it's still, it didn't matter. Right. It was still really fun to watch. It was really, it's hilarious. The character development is always awesome. But I actually like the second episode a bit better. I agree with Jenny. I think it had more of felt like it was its own thing. Like I like when Lower Decks does these like reference episodes, but sometimes I think it's too much, right? Like I just kind of want an episode on its own, like kind of on its own merits, and so that was the second one for me. So I like the second one more than the first one, but I like them both.
So I like the second one more than I like the first one, and I think I like the first one a lot. I liked a lot of the references. I'm not like a huge Voyager fan, but it certainly came out during the time where I was watching Star Trek a lot in the 90s, and I was off the high of Next Generation. So I watched a lot of Voyager and I got all the references. And at this point, it's very nostalgic. But I think they did, for me, the kind of the same thing that they did sort of in the crossover episode where they relied so heavily on the gimmick that I wasn't getting enough substance with the characters and the plot. And we'll talk about that more later. And the other thing was I liked the second episode a lot more. And I thought it was really interesting that both episodes had museums or had museum themes. So, okay, let's talk about Tuvix first, and then we'll talk about I have no bones, but yet I must flee. And let's talk about how do we feel about the plot of Tuvix. And let's just say that Tuvix is based on the episode Tuvix that's spelled differently, and where Neelix and Tuvok become one, and then Janeway murders him. So, how do you guys feel about the plot? which is the
Can you
promotions and
can,
in the Voyager Museum going crazy.
I mean, it was, it was a nice little setup for the reason that that they were there. I loved the museum guy being like so super intense about what he was doing. I I I always feel like people on Star Trek are those people, but we don't often get to see them like really, being that like neurotic about their about their special interests, So I thought that was I really enjoyed him. And what else? I really like the the I love that they didn't pull the punch with the Tuvix joke like right off the bat. They were just like mentioned Tuvix, and then Freeman's like, oh, I should probably go find out what Janeway did about that, and Mariner just immediately was like, she straight up murdered him, right? Like it was just yeah, that was great. I would have loved to have seen more of the T'Ana Phillips thing, because they were hilarious. Yeah, Tillip. Yeah. I actually like I was like sorry, I'm saying like a lot. I really enjoyed that hybrid and would have enjoyed more of that hybrid, but the whole hybrid army thing was an unexpected turn of events.
yeah, sorry, we're talking about the plot? Is that
Right, sorry.
what's the question?
Oh, right, the plot, right.
Is that yeah, I thought it was fine. I like those episodes where I like transporter episodes. I like transporter accident episodes. I think they're kind of cool and freaky, right? Because the only thing that could happen that's horrific is multiple people melding into one person. And so that's always a lot of fun. So I don't know anything about the Tuvix episode.
You need to watch
So
that.
I feel like I know. I feel like I need to
It's
watch it
amazing.
to understand
It's
this
amazing.
episode. Okay,
It
so
really
let me
is.
so basically what happens is Neelix and Tuvok go through a transporter accident. They become one person, like tulips or whatever,
Yep.
and then Janeway's like, well, this person can't exist, and murders
It's
it.
but the ethical dilemma arises that Tuvix is awesome, because Tuvix is almost like the best parts of Tuvok and Neelix put together. So he's awesome. Everybody likes him. It's like he's valuable to the ship. He's and then but they have to like fix him and kill him, and then he like begs for his life, and it is
Oh,
intense and
It
awful,
is
and everyone
very.
basically just like turns their backs on him, and Janeway marches him down
It's it's
to the
it's
transporter
probably
room, and he's
Janeway's
like,
most controversial uh, episode.
okay, but killing him means like separating him back out
oh
into
yeah,
Tuvix and Neelix,
Yeah,
right? It's not
yeah,
but
you
he's like
know.
his own. He's his own unique personality and his
yeah.
own.
Right, but so
Yeah,
when I was watching it, I was like, okay, did she take him into like a supply closet or
No,
something, and then
just
like
bludgeon him.
straight up, yeah, you know what I
Uh,
mean?
no. And she
Okay,
agonized about it, and it was just that she took the responsibility on herself of being the one to decide.
I'm glad now that Voyager gets so much love too. Like Voyager did not get love back then because everybody was high on Next Generation and they hated Voyager because it was basically taking its place and it wasn't as good or as TNG light. But
Hmm.
Voyager's good.
Hmm.
Voyager has a lot of
Voyager's
great
awesome.
great episodes.
Hmm.
yeah, and a lot of like controversial, morally strange episodes. It sounds
Yeah,
like.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, right there was like the salamander babies.
The salad.
Okay,
Oh, the
Do
so
poor
you know
so
about the
salamander.
salamander
When
babies?
no,
when you
see,
t-
this is what I'm talking
when
about.
the
This is
poor
what I need.
salamander took command, sat in the
Oh
command
my
chair.
god.
I was like, oh
This
my
is what
god.
you know what I need? I need a list of all the references in every single and like in each lower decks episode.
Namir's not going to enjoy this as much as I am because I
Yeah.
know Voyager inside and out, and you
Oh my
probably
god.
don't.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all. I know the
Like the
characters, but I
stupid,
don't
the
know.
stupid Irish hologram guy. He was.
Oh my god. I know, right?
I was like, They basically took all the worst episodes of Voyager and like plucked things.
Oh God.
So the salamander Borg is a real thing?
The salamander babies are a real thing, but the salamander never borged up. It's just that
Yeah,
because
the
7 of 9 was
animatronic
on the
ones for
ship,
the
so
museum.
her yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
got Borgified.
do you want to know about the salamander babies, or I don't want to
I
spoil
kind
it?
of no, it's
Tom,
fine. I think you should tell me.
Tom
Okay,
Paris and Captain Janeway had salamander babies when they were hyper evolved into lizards or salamanders.
because Tom Paris built a ship that broke the warp 10 barrier, and it turned him into a giant salamander, and then he kidnapped Janeway, and they went to warp 10 together, and then they found them on a planet, and they had turned into giant salamanders, and they had babies.
Come on, you just made that up.
It's called
That,
Threshold. You need to watch it.
oh my God, I feel like that episode is the only episode I'm gonna need to watch from
Pe-
Voyager.
People
I'm
consider it like one of the worst ones, but I actually love that episode. I think it's
Yeah,
off the wall and
I
it's
yeah,
fantastic.
like when his tongue falls out, you know.
Oh yeah, because it won an Emmy for makeup because they basically slowly changed mutate Tom Paris
Yeah,
and
it's
yeah, he pulls
horrific.
his tongue out at one point.
Yeah.
He's like, oh,
Yeah. I mean, if you're
it's
gonna
so
watch
gross.
like a few Voyager episodes, that could be one, but there are some others that are better. Like,
Oh, I
but
think that I
yeah.
always loved that one. I thought it was fantastic.
Well, it's just yeah. I mean, it's just it.
The weirder the better
Yeah,
when it
like
comes to.
there's episodes like I don't know, like Blink of an Eye. I really like, and Year of Hell is a really good Voyager episode. There's some like they go through some stuff, man. Yeah.
Okay, what about the giant viruses, the macrophages? Is
Oh
that
Oh,
yeah,
an
yeah.
episode?
Yeah.
yeah, that's an episode of Voyager. They get invaded by a
Yeah.
macrovirus, and Janeway has to go Ellen Ripley on them.
Yeah. And she takes off her outside jacket, and she takes off her
Oh
like
yeah,
long
yeah,
sleeve turtleneck, and she's got a tank top underneath, and she has a
yeah.
gun.
She got her
It's
phaser
amazing.
rifle, and
Oh,
she
so
got
good.
all over like her antigen bombs, and she's
Does
like,
she have like a
got all
little
this.
does she have like a little radar display that shows where they are on the ship?
Oh, and she also has a combat knife because she
Oh.
stabs a couple of them. That's
Oh,
right.
she does too. That's right.
Yeah,
She
there is. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's insane. Okay,
That's
I'll watch
awesome.
Voyager after you get through Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for the reference episodes. I mean, and I still thought that it had like a good character thing because they're all like potentially getting promoted. So we had Boimler kind of being anxious the whole time, trying to keep things going well, and it never does for him. So it was just funny how things just got worse and worse and worse.
Mhm. It was
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, they had the macroviruses, and then they had the deadly holograms. That was great that they had the
Mhm.
chaotica
Oh my
hologram
God.
and and
And the
So,
the and
clown.
the
and those three
and the
guys are from
clown.
actual episodes,
Oh
right?
yeah,
I
yeah,
know the answer. Okay,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
insane.
but separate
Because
programs. Like
Tom Paris has a 1930s serial
mhm.
holodeck program,
Captain
Captain
Proton.
Proton,
Yeah.
and Doctor
So
Chaotica is like his arch villain. I like too how the Chaotica hologram had like film grain on it. I was
yes,
like, oh, that's nice touch.
it was.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and Michael McKean played
Oh
the
my God.
clown in a second season episode,
Mhm.
where yeah, that was actually one of the best
It
episodes of
is.
season two, I think, because
Yeah.
Janeway he's a manifestation of fear from a alien holodeck or
Oh,
alien virtual reality program,
Mhm.
and so he's always trying to collect people and keep them in his grasp and basically feed off their emotions and their fear,
Mhm.
and then Janeway basically manipulates him and ends up beating him at his own game.
Yeah.
That's such a good ending of that
Yeah, it
episode
is.
when she
Mhm.
confronts him one on one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I say Michael McKean was so good in that role too. So
Oh yeah.
I gotta say, like, judging by these few episodes, Voyagers actually sounds really good.
Yeah,
Like a
it
killer
is.
clown
Oh, like
Yeah.
giant
I feel like
viruses.
when you go like duds to good, like I find Voyager just on par with any of the other Star Treks.
Oh
There's a
yeah.
lot of good stuff. There's some crap like the Irish holodeck village, but
I like Fairhaven.
I love that he was there, and then he's like hitting on Mariner. He's like, I miss my wife. And I think that's a reference because Janeway deleted him, or
J-
Janeway deleted the wife in that episode.
Oh my God, really?
yes. She's
Because
like making
she thought,
adjustments to him.
yeah, she was making him for her, and, and since he had a wife in the program, she deleted the wife.
Wow, she kind of sounds like a sociopath. I
No,
gotta say,
Just a
there's some
very lonely
questionable.
Starfleet captain in the middle of
Oh,
yeah,
nowhere.
oh,
yeah,
that's sad.
yeah. Oh man, there's so many good arcs in Voyager. Like man, like oh god, like Eye of the Needle, so good. Ooh,
Well, I felt like there was a missed opportunity in this episode to make a Harry Kim joke because everybody at the end
yes,
got promoted to lieutenant,
yes,
and I thought for sure they're going to mention how Harry Kim never got promoted from ensign, but they didn't do it, and I'm like, ah, come on,
yeah,
that would have been a good like post credit scene. Like Harry Kim's like, what? It's
You know,
like
I'm
it was seven
actually
years and I was still an ensign.
I'm really surprised they didn't have anybody from the Voyager crew in the episode, like
mm,
as in like a guest starring
Oh
role.
yeah, they were there in mannequin form.
Yeah, their uniforms were there, but but not actually them, right?
yeah,
Like the DS9 Lower Decks episode where they had Kira Nerys on it. I thought for sure they'd pull somebody in at some point, but they didn't. I kept waiting for it. It didn't happen.
yeah.
I thought that was Ethan Phillips that was playing the voice of the museum guy, but I guess it was Andy Richter when I looked it up.
Oh, was it?
So yeah, yeah.
I
So
forgot to
which
look.
he
Yeah, but
kind of has an Ethan Phillips voice.
It's all a Voyager gush fest. Let's talk about if we have any favorite moments of the Tuvix episode.
I have some notes. Couple of things. Um, oh, actually, to be fair, we've covered a lot of them. The Borg salamander baby killed me. Like I can't. Like I'm still laughing about it, especially like you said when you're sitting in the captain's chair. It just destroyed me. Um, and one other thing that actually wasn't even part of the episode, but just in the new credits, in the scene where they're like fighting the Borg in the credits, and
The
and
probe.
yes,
The
and every
probe.
year they're bringing in another villain and adding it to the battle, and now yeah, I was like, the probe's there. Yeah, that was very exciting, very exciting. Yeah, we've covered a lot of
That was
them.
one of my notes. I was like, oh, is that
Mhm.
probe new? Because I don't remember hearing a
It's
wom
new.
wom
Yeah,
wom wom and before.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
last year was it the Crystal Identity that they brought in last year that they
Yeah, I
didn't
think
have
they
there
had
before?
that in
Yeah,
last year. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, that's fun. I like that. And and the cheese, Rutherford and the cheese. That was
Oh
wonderful.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. That was great. Like that they referenced the cheesy cheese line from
Yeah,
Voyager.
yeah. And then they used it, but that was like the MacGuffin. The MacGuffin. Am I
Get the
using
cheese
that
to
right?
sick bay.
Yeah.
It was like the solution.
Favorite moment? That's a really good question. Favorite moment. I really liked the giant virus turned into a little Borg. That was hilarious. It was amazing. It
I
was
was
just funny.
was did it have like was that Harry Kim's clarinet stuck in it or something? Like it had like a flute or a clarinet or something
It
that kept
probably
going
was then. I didn't even realize. Oh my god, it
making a noise as
was.
it flew around. I think it was.
Yeah. I just
Oh,
loved
that's
how it
amazing.
just everything kept getting worse and
Yeah.
worse. For Boimler, he's like, "Oh, it's a virus. Oh, it's a Borg virus now," and then it just kind of like floats away. They're like, "Oh, I got to deal with this now."
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, it's hard to say 'cause it's such a Voyager love fest. I just loved everything. I mean the Borg salamander. That was I also laughed out loud at that. Yeah, and I like the whole. I liked how they took the Tuvix premise and basically extrapolated on it. It kind of became like an island of Dr. Moreau, where they're like making an army of hybrids, and then it just
Hmm.
got out of hand. I also liked Steve Stevens merged with Matt the Whale.
Oh my god, that was so
I,
I want my fish.
I want my
He's not my best work.
Oh my god.
Oh, there's so many things. It was like just lightning fast gags and
Yeah.
references, and it was
Yeah.
you know, but the lower decks heart was still there, and it was just a lot of fun to watch. I really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the episode went too far when they combined all the people together, and it was like the thing from the thing, the movie, the thing. We're like, "Ah."
But like it also solved their moral dilemma
Moral
because it
dilemma.
just became
Yeah.
a
Yes.
big blob of unintelligent meat. So it's like I don't mind turning it back into normal people now.
There's no too far in this episode.
Hmm. Yeah, that's legitimate. Yeah.
There's only
And
two
again,
Vix. I
Tendi
understand. Okay.
a way to help also. Yeah.
And I think was it Talon the Vulcan
Jillian.
exchange officer. She's a great addition too to the
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
like she brings a fun new dynamic to the team.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Holy f! Run for your lives! That should prove to be a disaster.
I have no bones, but yet I must flee. So the first thing I want to ask is, does anybody understand what the reference of this title is?
I've
I
never seen it.
understand
Look it
that
up.
reference. I
I
actually
do not,
understand that reference.
and I
So
didn't look it up.
it's kind of a weird reference. So it's Harlan Ellison wrote a short story called "I Have No Mouth, But I'm a Scream." So
Oh.
I'm guessing
Nice.
that's what it's referencing. And
Hmm.
he wrote City on the Edge of Tomorrow. So I guess that's or
Sorry,
sorry,
what?
Forever.
forever. Yeah, sorry. So
Don't edit that out. You call yourself a Trek fan.
oh whatever. You didn't even know who wrote that.
No, this one was still a really good episode. Again, I enjoyed the Voyager one more apparently than everyone else. But yeah, this one was still a really solid episode. I had a lot of fun with this. The whole zoo concept. The fact they had to rescue humans who were scooped up by a zoo because
Mhm.
it seems like every science fiction show, you know, the heroes end up in some sort of alien zoo at some point. Happened in the Orville, happened in Star Trek animated series. So, there's many examples.
Yeah, I enjoyed the whole like zoo or museum thing is so Star Trek. It just and I love seeing them going to a place like that and just like looking to see if I recognize anything and that's yeah really fun and so that was a great setup for the A story and I really enjoyed the B story with Rutherford trying to get his promotion. I just thought that was like really just really funny. I thought it was awesome because that other ensign guy is like his nemesis now, or I guess Rutherford is his nemesis now. Anyway, which is great because that's always really entertaining, and I like that they set these relationships up on the show. And ooh, there was a bunch of stuff in this episode that I really really liked. There was a bunch of stuff. We'll get there, but I thought it was excellent. I thought it was an excellent episode.
Yeah, first impressions. I love this episode. I thought it was great. Felt like classic Lower Decks
Mm-hmm.
and classic Star Trek kind of all once. And it was kind of doing Lower Decks was doing what it does really well, which is make fun of the genre, make fun of the series, but at the same time tell a really good story with some really
Mm-hmm.
solid character development. Which is crazy that they're able to do that in 25 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just so jam packed with great stuff. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed this. The more I think about it, I enjoyed it way more than I enjoyed the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love I mean, everything you guys said already. I really love the show in general, and I liked it better than the first episode. Although the first episode wasn't bad, this one was better, and I love that little. I guess maybe it was a little half checked out, but I didn't see that the Pokemon being the evil one. But I was like, this is really awesome. when it happened. So I
Yeah.
loved it eating those dinosaurs. It was like the best thing ever.
It didn't eat them. It sucked out their bones. It slurped them up.
Yeah.
It like
Amazing.
it liquefied their bones and
Yeah.
then sucked them out of their
Yeah.
bodies. That was
That was
amazing.
amazing. So
So I really like the opening of that episode with the Romulans
Mm.
getting blown up, and then I realized, oh, they're doing building an arc. They're doing a mysterious ship arc where they killed the Klingons at the end of the first episode, and now they're back. Which I think is this the first time they do this in Lower Decks? They're building like a season long arc with the.
I feel like
they've
they did it with
had
the Packlids.
yeah, they've had like multi-episode arcs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They did it with what's his face? I forgot his name. He's the holodeck combat guy.
Badgie.
Oh, Badgie.
Badgie. Yeah, they kind of did it with Badgie. So they do this, but
Peanut hamper.
you're right.
Starfleet intercepted a distress call command thinks could be related to the recent attacks.
At the brink of destruction.
The attacks have all been non-Federation ships, but now someone's targeting Starfleet.
So
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about that opening scene and this new mysterious ship? Let's start with Namir because you seem eager.
Do I seem eager? I like it. I like that they're doing a season-long arc. I think they're doing it in a way that's kind of funny. It's like very Lower Decks, right? Like it's funny, but it's also kind of cool. It's, there's some stakes here. This thing is kind of going through its, I don't think we've seen it before. Does it look familiar to you guys?
Mm-mm.
No. So it's something totally
It's probably
new.
Badgie.
I hope it's Badgie. Badgie's great. Yeah, so I'm, because it doesn't just like, there's no fight, which is cool. It just annihilates the ship. It just annihilates everybody. So they're setting it up as an actual like formidable foe. So I think it's going to be interesting to see where it goes.
Well, what I like about that scene and also the Klingon scene is that they did a little like almost like Lower Decks version of the Klingon ship, and they did a Lower Decks version of the Romulan ship.
Yeah.
And how everyone on the Romulan ship they're all scheming. Oh, that's not even a scheme. That's barely a scheme. It's like,
That's great.
oh, I want to go back to conspiring. It's how it was. They kind of made fun of the Romulan mindset, like they're always trying to like backstab each other all the time, which I never thought of it, and I was like, oh yeah, it's funny. It's like a cultural thing.
I thought it was really cool, and the thing, one of the things that I really love about Lower Decks is that they are very good at creating those stakes. Like when there's a battle, when there's a villain, they really like they're not afraid to be coming close to killing people off or blowing things up, or it's I feel like this is going somewhere awesome. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I agree. Like this show has such a unique flavor in the Star Trek universe, and it's been consistently good over the last 3 seasons. So I've basically got to the point where I trust the writers, Mike McMahon, that they know what they're doing, and they're doing a great job of it, and they handle it, with a lot of love and care, and because I haven't stopped having fun with this show. Like it's pretty much been a slam dunk the whole run. That's coming from someone who I thought this show was going to be stupid. Like I was really worried when the show first started that it was just going to be a stain on Star Trek. I think it's going to probably build to something cool, and I am interested to see where it goes. I don't think it'll be. I have a hard time believing it'll be as fun as the Packlet reveal from the earlier seasons. But because that was like the perfect villain for this show. But maybe it will be the Packlet. Who knows?
It's obviously Vidra's love child.
I was gonna say if you say parasites, I'm gonna.
No, I got a new love now. It's called Vidra's baby.
Baby. Okay. But it'll be fun to kind of, I guess, in the coming episodes to do our predictions about what it is, like when we did Picard.
So how do we feel about the plot of this? And I know that Jenny, I'll let you start, Jenny, but you already talked about it a little bit, but we can take it from there.
Well, I, as someone who struggles greatly with imposter syndrome, as most of us do, I thought that was fabulous. Like, I thought, digging into Mariner a little bit more and why she is the way that she is, and yeah, because we know she's had these demotions in the past, and we didn't really, we just assumed that she was doing a bad job, but it turns out she's sabotaging herself. And yeah, and once again, Ransom shows up as he's consistently not what you expect him to be, because they just keep setting him up to be what he appears to be, and then he's a Star Trek commander, and he's awesome and supportive, and I really, really like that. I really thought that that angle on Mariner and just that sort of that phenomenon is wonderful.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Like I said before, I think they, whoever's writing these episodes, they've got a really skilled team, and they're able to cram in so much stuff in half an episode. Like, I always feel like with Lower Decks, there's more character development in these short episodes than a lot of the other the new Star Trek episodes, which is unbelievable to me. And
which you love, right? You love those other shows as well.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, I love Lower Decks. I love it because it's so well made. And like when you watch Lower Decks, you just wish that the other shows were a little bit more like that, right? Like Strange New Worlds kind of got it a little bit when they did that crossover episode. And you know what? And just to talk about that episode, there's one line that Boimler says. He's like, they're in the shuttlecraft, and he's like, "Have you noticed that everybody talks so slowly?" And then Mariner's like, "And quietly." And they're like, "Yeah."
Yeah, the plot was really good. I basically echo everything everybody else has already said. So, but I'll bring up the B story, is that I really enjoyed, because this show it reminds me of like the Torture O'Brien episodes in Deep Space Nine. This show loves to torment Boimler, and his search for quarters that weren't awful was great.
That was awesome.
I love that. That's what he got. Like, I get my own quarters. He goes in there in the blinding nacelle light, and then he goes to the one between the two holodecks. He's like, "Why is there quarters between two holodecks?" And then, yeah, with Strax and T'Ana going at it in the Robin Hood. like that whole B plot was just that had me laughing out loud too. Yeah, I think I almost found that funnier than the zoo part. I also enjoyed Ensign Gary. I thought for sure Ensign Gary was going to get his bones drank, but he managed to survive. All that happened to Ensign Gary was that he shit himself, I guess.
Oh yeah, I need to replicate a new uniform.
Yeah.
So has he been in any other episodes? Because I don't remember him. But he
No,
reminds me a lot of
new.
Sheldon. I thought he was like. Did anybody else think he was like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory?
Oh, I didn't
Not
think
that he
of it,
was
but yeah.
played by the actor, but he
No.
was kind of like that.
As soon as he got introduced, I was like, "Oh, he's got a red shirt. We've never seen him before. He's gonna be murdered." But he actually survived. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the menagerie, the museum or the zoo or whatever. And so, aside from the humans, were there any other? I couldn't tell if there were any other references, like subtle references of creatures.
I saw one.
So,
There was the Q creature with the three cobras in the sphere.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
Oh.
the three-headed cobra.
Yes.
Aldebaran snake or whatever he calls it.
Yes.
Aldebaran. Yeah, it was funny because I just finished editing that episode, the hiding Q episode, and you talked about that at length, Namir. You're like, oh, that's what the Q looked like, and
Did I?
but it's not. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you said that that's what you
yeah.
thought the Q looked like, but then it
Mhm.
turns out that's not what the Q looks
That's
like.
not.
It
That's not
what? It's
good.
an Aldebaran snake or viper or something.
Serpent or
Cobra.
something.
Aldebaran
It's
cobra.
it's
Yeah, yeah.
pretty cheesy looking. It's pretty corny looking. Like, how do you evolve with a glowing ball and 3 snake heads? Like, it seemed like a
Makes
dumb
perfect
design,
sense.
but anyway.
I always just thought it was like human beings couldn't understand what cues actually looked like, so they were just like they just chose something random.
Oh,
They're like
Like a
funny.
glowing
three-headed
ball
snake
with 3
ball.
heads.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I really love the museum ship, and I like the guy. I like the I don't know, the curator was
Is he
on
like a
one hand.
banana or something? What was
Yeah.
he?
Yeah,
Like a
They
stalker?
said
or a
he was a
corn
tree.
I thought he was a corn. I thought he was
It
a
looked
Yeah.
He also
corn.
like
had
I thought it
bones
was
as
a
a guy.
carrot.
I thought he was a banana.
Was he made of
We all
calcium?
thought he was something different.
And he referred to himself in the third person all the time. It's like, ooh,
Yeah.
what was his name? Banana Head does not understand.
Banana head. Yeah.
The exercise scene, for a couple of reasons. Number one, because they shot for shot match not just the outfits, but actually all the moves that they did too. I mean, they had them reversed, but other than that, that was like um referencing
Okay,
on
what episode is that? What is
from
the episode is it from? Do you remember?
the price. The price.
Is it the price or is it from the host?
It's from the price. The host has the thing in the spa with the nails. This is the one with the yeah, the
Oh, yeah.
price. Yeah. But come on.
But, but wasn't there more than one? I was just trying to trick you.
They were just
Yeah, sure you
anytime
were.
that Beverly and Deanna ever talked to each other, it was about something like that. So, what I really appreciated about this particular scene was the fact that not only did they use the visual gag, they also had them doing girl talk. Girl talk. And I love that because number one, it drew attention to the fact that that's all they ever got to talk about. And number two, it actually kind of normalized everybody talking that way, which makes sort of in retrospect Beverly and Deanna doing that less like dumb. You know what I mean? So I really love that. I really love that on a whole lot of levels. Yeah. And they, squeezing them into those leotards was like amazing. Like amazing.
I like too the simple thing at the end was like, just activate the window filter, and then. But yeah, it was funny that it
Yeah,
just
because
got worse and worse
obviously
for him.
they wouldn't like Starfleet has evolved, right? They wouldn't make people sleep in like quarters that where they could get irradiated or blinded by the nacelles. Like,
Yeah, I like
doesn't
too
make
when
any sense.
he was blinded and he had like his little Medusan visor there
Mhm.
from
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
original series, and
Yeah.
then, but then he got blinded and he was like tripping over and breaking all of his little collectibles. And then when he slept in Jeffrey's tube, the vibrations kept knocking his collectibles off. It's
Mhm.
like it's always just funny to watch that character get tormented. So, but yeah, that was probably my favorite part of this was just poor Boimler.
Yeah, I don't have a favorite scene. I definitely have a favorite moment, and it's what's Rutherford's nemesis? What's his name? He's like a
Oh,
brand new character, right? It's like
Yeah.
Finley
yeah,
or
I
something
didn't
like that, right?
catch his name yet.
Linley. Linley? No.
Lindley?
It's an L, I think. I'm not sure.
Well, anyway, so my favorite moment is when Rutherford realizes he's the nemesis, and he's like, Lindley, you know, because to me that's like right out of Seinfeld, where Jerry's like,
Yes.
Newman, you know, and actually, there's like a bunch of Seinfeld episodes of Seinfeld references in this episode,
That's true. With like the red
right?
light and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. With the red light and Moopsie is Moops from the Bubble Boy episode in Seinfeld. So there's like three solid references to Seinfeld in this episode.
That's awesome. I love that.
Moops.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Well, talk to the writer.
Ooh, two little references. Just that I really liked. Rutherford working on the, trying to do one of the things he was doing, and he had the thing with the tubes that they always do the
Oh, yeah.
and he called them the Tucker tubes.
Yeah.
Tucker tubes. I'm so happy.
Yes,
You
the
know that?
tubes.
Okay, I just have to say that piece of set design, like I think about that piece of set design. I sometimes will just walk down the street and I'm like, that piece of set design, and I try to think how many episodes it's been in, and I know for a fact that it was in Star Trek 2. It was in Quality of Life, season 6, TNG. Was it in Datalore? Was it in Datalore?
I think it was, yeah, because it was in the lab on the planet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it in Home Soil? I feel like it was in Home Soil, maybe.
It was usually.
Yeah, is it?
Oh, I don't know.
Anytime
It
it's
makes
a
And
rat,
it was in
basically.
Yeah.
it was in the Last Starfighter.
It was in the Last Starfighter.
That's
yes.
right. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's awesome.
My theory about that is that all over LA there's these prop houses. You just go and you rent stuff, and I think somebody just designed this thing, and maybe it was made for a particular movie, or it was just made as a generic like science fiction prop, and then people rent them out for different things. I don't think it belongs to Star Trek. I think it's because it showed up in that other movie, right? And the Last Starfighter. But I want to know, like, I'd want to do a whole video documentary about that thing and the history of that thing, who built it, where it came from, all that stuff. But then it was in this episode, and then it had a third leg. Basically,
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Didn't they use it also? Was it in the mind's eye when they were testing the, when they're testing the phaser rifle, like right in front of the warp core, Geordi and Data, and they have it like fitted into a thing, and I feel like they were using like it's part of the setup somehow. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to look that up after this
All right.
review.
All right. The other thing that I loved at the end was when Rutherford was doing this little experiment thing on the floor in their room, and it was Wesley's repulsor beam from the Naked Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Look what I can do.
Pay attention to me.
And I can get Captain Picard to call me from the bridge.
Oh,
convenient! This bring back so many memories. This bring back so many memories. My favorite part of the episode is the Moopsie. I know it's such
so
cliche for the Pokemon to be the evil one, but first of all, didn't see it coming. I just was like, whatever. I guess because there's little creatures like that in all of Star Trek. Like there was that little Muppet in Newground, and there's another little Muppet in the Most Toys, and they're always like very benign. So I was like, well, there's another one. But then it was like so evil. and I love that the resolution was that Mariner had to beat the shit out of Ransom.
Oh, yeah. The teeth.
And at the end, he had all these fake teeth. He was like, hello, everybody.
I think we only really needed 3 of your teeth. We didn't need to knock them all out.
It's great when they can find an interesting, like, clever resolution, like, plot-wise to the episode, but it's also funny. Like, it works on multiple layers. So, that was good. Let's start with ratings for Two Vix. Let's start with Jenny.
Oh, okay. Two Vix. Overall, I thought it was great. It was jam-packed full of stuff that made me very happy, and I had a lot of fun. And because I have no frame of reference for a rating system for this particular season, but you know that I tend to rate high, I'm going to give it an 8? Question mark?
That's almost like, I feel like she hated it if she gave it an 8.
No. I have to start somewhere, right? I have to start somewhere.
I'm curious what a Jenny 1 or 2 is, but we'll see, I guess.
There is no such thing.
It's called Star Trek. There's no
Code
such
of
thing.
Honor is a solid 5,
Uh,
Like,
Oh wow, yeah. I guess that's the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I do have to change my scale a little bit because I love the show.
mhm.
So I don't know if there's going to be any episodes that are going to be below a 6. Like 6 is probably going to be the worst one. So I didn't like, I liked this episode. It wasn't my favorite episode. So I'm going to give it a 7. I think it's a solid 7.
Mm.
Because I liked it, but a lot of it was like referencing Voyager, and I don't know Voyager really well, so a lot of it went over my head. And yeah, and actually, I don't like the ship.
I,
I don't like the. I'm just gonna say it. I don't like the design of the Voyager ship. I think it sucks. So I'm gonna give it a 7 because of that.
That's amazing.
of all the of
Yeah,
all the things to complain about Voyager, I don't know if that's the
yeah.
one you want to pick.
Looks like a
That made
pregnant
me
dolphin.
happy.
I know it might be sacrilege to say it, but Voyager has always been my favorite ship design out of all the
That's
hero
awesome.
ships,
Mhm.
and so I love it. Voyager's the one I
But what
deal with the
about the
most.
episode, Alan?
Well, being a huge Voyager fan and knowing it like the back of my hand, I appreciate all the references. I like the Lower Deck story that it was framed around. It was just a great time from beginning to finish. Yeah, so I would give this one really high marks. Like I almost think this is one of my favorite Lower Decks episodes out of
Awesome.
all the ones I've watched. So I'm going to give it no, I'm not at a 10
Mm-mm.
yet, but it was really good, and I was like, I really want to give this a 9.5 out of 10.
Woo!
What?
It
Why don't
made
you
me
just give it a
it
10?
made me
Why are
very
you holding
happy,
Well,
back?
just give
and
it a 10. Why? I mean, I don't understand it. I'm
I don't
giving it a
know. There's this
9.9999 repeating out of 10.
yes, we can't break the warp 10
Just,
barrier.
He's gonna turn into a salamander.
Yeah. If I give it a 10, I'll
it
turn
didn't
into a
make it didn't
salamander.
make
There
you
you go.
cry. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to make this show is not really ever going to make me cry, is it? Because it's a cartoon.
I like this episode and love the episode. I enjoyed all the Voyager references. There was something a little lacking in terms of the plot and little substance that I wanted to see more of. So I'll give it a solid 7. I had a good time. I enjoyed the salamanders really made it for me. And so let's do our ratings for I Have No Bones, but Yet I Must Flee, episode 2. Let's start with our final thoughts and our rating. Let's start with Jenny.
All right, this one I feel more sure about my rating because, like I said, I loved the workout scene. I loved the Mariner imposter syndrome stuff. Like Ransom once again being just awesome. So I'm giving it a solid 9, and that's just because I'm trying to be a little bit cautious about because I feel like this season is going to be awesome, and I'm anticipating something even better.
You're going to turn into a salamander later this season, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I love this episode. I think it really highlights what what lower decks does.
Quack, quack.
Oh my God, what lower decks does really well, which is tell really good stories and deconstruct Star Trek, right? Like it sort of turns the light onto itself, and it does it in a really smart way. So that was totally on display in this episode. And I love Seinfeld, so I love the Seinfeld references. So that was great. So I'm going to give it an 8 because even though I loved it, I think that this season is going to be really good. So I'm anticipating some 9s in the future. If there's no 9s in the future, then I'll retroactively change this to a 9. But
Nice.
right now it's an 8.
Yeah, again, this was a really solid episode. It was, it had a good character story, a good wacky science fiction story. A lot of laughs. A lot of that's That's the thing too with this show is like the gags always land with me. Like
Hmm.
sometimes you watch something and it's like, nah, falls flat or but most times in this show, like they hit it, and it's a great. The gags always seem to work. Um, so yeah, I didn't have as much fun with this one as the first one, unlike everybody else here. But it's still yeah, I would say a solid 8 out of 10. It's still really top tier Lower Decks. I mean, I don't even know what low tier Lower Decks is because it seems like it's a pretty solid and consistent show.
Hmm.
I think the only episode so far in this series that's really like kind of rubbed me the wrong way is like maybe that one with Peanut Hamper because Peanut Hamper is so unlikable.
I love that episode so much.
I was like that one where they're on the planet with the bird people. It started
Oh
off
my
really
God.
good, and then Peanut Hamper turned to an asshole again, and I was
So
like,
great.
"Fucking Peanut Hamper!" I'm like, "You're so awful." So anyway,
Final thoughts. I love this episode. I was really having a good time, and it really reminded me of why I like this show, and brings back the warm fuzzies from Star Trek: The Next Generation and that whole time period. And so I will give this episode a 8 out of 10, and feel very happy about it. Okay. So we'll be back next week to review episode 3 of season 4 of Star Trek Lower Decks, and I hope you will join us then.
I don't know how I'm going to enter this into the log.
Just where in the future, the things we've done and said. Let's just push the button, we'd be better.